Welcome. If you're running investment operations, leading a product team, or overseeing the COO function at an asset management firm, you already know the pain we're about to describe. Every single month, your team faces the same grind: pulling performance data, writing fund commentary, updating fact sheets across dozens, sometimes hundreds, of funds, all under crushing month-end deadlines. This isn't a strategic initiative for most firms, it's a manual, repetitive, error-prone process that consumes your most expensive resource, the time and attention of portfolio managers and product specialists. 40 or more hours per cycle, spread across writers, data teams, compliance reviewers, and desktop publishing staff. And the stakes are high. A single wrong number, an off-brand statement, or a compliance miss can create real regulatory and reputational risk. Today we're going to walk you through a fundamentally better way, an AI-powered automation workflow that takes this entire process from raw data ingestion through final PDF distribution and compresses it from days to minutes per fund. We'll cover the architecture, the workflow, the compliance guardrails, and a clear path to prototyping this with your own fund data. Let's get into it. Here's our agenda for the next few minutes. We're going to move fast because your time is valuable, and this story is straightforward once you see the pieces. We'll start by framing the problem precisely, not just the hours spent, but the downstream consequences of the current manual approach. Inconsistency across fund families, bottlenecked portfolio managers, compliance risk from ad hoc language, and the sheer inability to scale when you launch new products or onboard acquired funds. Then we'll walk through the 4-stage automation workflow: data ingestion, commentary generation, factsheet assembly, and human-in-the-loop review. Each stage is designed to slot into your existing operating model. We're not asking you to rip and replace your portfolio management systems or your compliance infrastructure. We'll spend dedicated time on the commentary generation engine because that's where the transformative AI capability lives. You'll see how large language models can produce institutional quality attribution narratives that match your house style and compliance approved language patterns. Finally, we'll show you the AWS reference architecture that makes this production ready and enterprise grade. And we'll close with a clear call to action. Let's begin with the problem. Let's be honest about what month-end looks like at most asset management firms on the left. You see the current reality. Portfolio managers or product specialists sit down and manually write commentary for each fund. They're pulling performance data from Bloomberg Port, attribution data from FactSet, holdings from Eagle Pace or similar systems, often exporting to Excel, reformatting, and then writing narratives by hand. That commentary then gets copy-pasted into factsheet templates, typically in Design or PowerPoint, files that someone on the marketing or product team manually updates with new charts, tables, performance figures, and risk metrics. Then the whole package gets emailed to compliance for review, where it sits in a queue alongside every other fund's materials. On the right, you see the consequences. Your highest paid investment professionals are spending days writing prose instead of making investment decisions. The tone and depth of commentary varies wildly across fund families. Your large cap equity commentary reads nothing like your fixed income commentary. Even though clients expect a unified brand voice, errors creep in because humans are manually transcribing numbers, and deadlines get missed, which means your institutional clients and consultants don't get the materials they expect on time. This is not a technology problem that's been ignored, it's a problem that until recently had no good technology solution. That's changed. You might ask why firms haven't solved this already. The answer is that the problem compounds with scale in ways that resist traditional automation. Every time you launch a new fund, acquire a team, or expand into a new market, you're adding another fact sheet that needs monthly commentary. If you manage 200 funds, that's 200 unique narratives every single month. And these aren't boilerplate documents. Each fund has its own performance drivers, sector tilts, security level attribution stories, and positioning changes. A commentary for your emerging markets equity fund requires completely different market context than your investment grade credit fund. The language has to be precise. GIPS compliance demands accuracy in every performance figure. And regulatory requirements vary across the US, UK, EU, and APAC jurisdictions. Traditional automation tools, mail merge, template engines, even basic rules-based text generation, can handle the data population piece. But they cannot write intelligent, contextual narratives that explain why a fund outperformed or underperformed its benchmark. That requires reasoning over data, understanding market context, and producing natural language that reads like it was written by an investment professional. This is exactly what large language models now make possible. Let me show you the workflow. Here is the end-to-end workflow. 4 stages, each fully automated with human oversight exactly where it belongs, at the approval gate before distribution. Stage 1 is data ingestion. We automatically pull monthly performance returns, holdings snapshots, benchmark data, and attribution analysis from your portfolio management systems, whether you're on Bloomberg Port, FactSet, Eagle Pace, or using flat file exports from your accounting system. We normalize everything into a structured data layer that feeds the rest of the pipeline. Stage 2 is where the AI does its work. A large language model, specifically Claude via Amazon Bedrock, takes that structured data and generates fund-specific commentary. This isn't generic text. It explains performance drivers, walks through sector and security attribution, describes positioning changes, and provides market outlook, all written in your firm's established tone and using compliance-approved language patterns. Stage 3 assembles the fact sheet, updated charts, performance tables, risk metrics, holdings breakdowns, and the generated commentary are all populated into your standardized templates and rendered as distribution-ready PDFs. Stage 4 is the compliance review. Every generated commentary surfaces in a review interface with tracked changes, redlining capability, and one-click approval. Your compliance team reviews and approves before anything goes to clients. Let's dive deeper into each stage. Let's start with data ingestion. Because garbage in means garbage out, and this stage is where most manual processes break down. Today, your operations team is probably exporting data from multiple systems, reformatting spreadsheets, cross-referencing numbers, and manually entering figures into factsheet templates. Every handoff is an error opportunity. In the automated workflow, we connect directly to your portfolio management systems via API, Bloomberg Port, FactSet, Eagle Pace, or whatever custodian and accounting platforms you use. For firms that rely on flat file exports, we ingest CSVs and Excel files with built-in validation rules that flag anomalies before they propagate downstream. If your benchmark data comes from one system and your attribution data from another, we normalize everything into a unified data model. Here's a detail that matters for firms with legacy processes. If you have historical fact sheets in PDF format that you need to parse, say, for onboarding an acquired fund family, we use Amazon Textract to extract structured data from those documents. Tables, performance figures, holdings, all extracted and validated. Every data point goes through automated quality checks and reconciliation against source systems. The goal is zero manual data handling between your source systems and the commentary generation engine. This alone eliminates an entire category of month-end errors. This is the core of the solution and the stage that was simply not possible before large language models. Let me walk you through how it works. The commentary engine receives the normalized data for each fund, monthly returns versus benchmark, sector attribution, top and bottom contributors, holdings changes, risk metrics like drawdown and tracking error, and relevant market data. It also receives your firm's style guide, historical approved commentaries for that fund, and a set of compliance rules, words and phrases that are approved or prohibited. Using Claude via Amazon Bedrock, the system generates a complete first draft of the fund commentary. This isn't a template with blanks filled in. It's a contextual narrative that reasons over the data. The fund outperformed its benchmark by 47 basis points, driven primarily by an overweight allocation to information technology, where our positions in semiconductor equipment benefited from continued AI infrastructure spending. That kind of specificity, written in your house style. The model generates separate sections: performance summary, attribution analysis, positioning changes, and market outlook. Each section is grounded in the actual data. The model cites specific numbers and holdings. And because we fine-tune on your historical commentaries, the output matches the voice and depth your clients and consultants expect. Generation takes roughly 60 seconds per fund. Across 100 funds, that's less than 2 hours of compute time, versus days of human effort. Let me address the quality question head-on, because this is where healthy skepticism is warranted. Asset managers rightly demand institutional quality writing, and the commentary that goes to your clients and consultants represents your brand and your investment credibility. First, attribution narratives. The model doesn't just say technology helped performance. It identifies the specific overweight or underweight, names the securities that contributed most, quantifies the basis point impact, and explains the market dynamics behind it. This is because it's working from your actual attribution data, not generating from general knowledge. Second, compliance-aware language. We configure the model with your compliance framework, approved terminology, prohibited phrases, restrictions on forward-looking statements, and jurisdiction-specific requirements. The model is prompted and fine-tuned to operate within these boundaries. It won't promise future returns. It won't make unsubstantiated claims. And it flags any statement that approaches a compliance boundary. Third, consistency. When a human team writes commentary across 50 funds, voice and depth vary based on who wrote it and how much time they had. The AI produces uniform quality regardless of whether it's your flagship fund or a smaller vehicle. Finally, every generated commentary is grounded in the data you provide. The system does not hallucinate performance figures or fabricate holdings information. Numbers come from your data pipeline. Period. Stage 3 takes all the validated data and generated commentary and assembles the final factsheet. This is where you eliminate the desktop publishing bottleneck that plagues most firms. Your factsheet templates, whether they're designed for U.S. institutional clients, European UCITS funds, or retail distribution, are stored as parameterized templates. Every element has a defined data binding. The performance chart pulls from validated return series. The holdings table pulls from the latest snapshot. Risk metrics compute from the data pipeline. And the commentary section receives the AI-generated narrative. Assembly is fully automated. No one opens InDesign. No one copy-pastes numbers into PowerPoint. The system renders the factsheet in your exact brand format, fonts, colors, layouts, disclaimers, all templated and version controlled. Output formats include PDF for traditional distribution and digital formats for web and client. Portals. For global asset managers, the system supports multi-language output. The same commentary and data can be rendered in English, German, French, Japanese, whatever your distribution footprint requires. The language model handles translation while maintaining financial terminology accuracy. The result: a distribution-ready factsheet for each fund, generated in under 2 minutes, with zero manual formatting, across a family of 200 funds. You're looking at factsheet assembly completed in hours instead of the days or weeks it takes today. This is the stage that separates a responsible enterprise solution from a novelty demo. Nothing, absolutely nothing, reaches your clients without human review and explicit approval. The review interface presents the AI-generated commentary side by side with the source data. Your compliance reviewer or portfolio manager can see exactly which data points the commentary references and verify accuracy at a glance. If the commentary says the fund returned 2.3% versus 1.8% for the benchmark, the reviewer sees those exact figures highlighted in the source data panel. If edits are needed, the reviewer redlines directly in the interface. All changes are tracked. You have a complete audit trail showing the original AI draft, every human edit, who made it, and when. This is critical for regulatory documentation and GIPS compliance. You can demonstrate to regulators and auditors exactly how every piece of client-facing content was produced and reviewed. One-click approval triggers the distribution workflow. Factsheets are published to your client portal, sent to distribution partners, filed in your document management system, and archived for records retention. For exceptions, a fund with unusual performance, a significant strategy change, a market event that requires special handling, the system supports escalation paths. Flagged funds route to senior investment professionals for additional review before approval. The AI handles the routine. Humans focus on the exceptions. Let's put the operational impact in stark terms on the left. The current state at most asset management firms' commentary and factsheet production takes 3 to 5 days per fund family each month. Portfolio managers, people you're paying to generate alpha, are spending that time writing paragraphs instead of analyzing positions. The quality of commentary varies based on who wrote it and how rushed they were. And manual data transcription introduces errors that create compliance risk. On the right, the automated workflow. Each fund's commentary is generated in roughly 60 seconds. Factsheet assembly takes another 2 minutes. The entire family, even hundreds of funds, can be processed in a single day, including compliance review. Portfolio managers shift from drafting commentary to reviewing and approving it, a fundamentally different and far more efficient use of their time. The quality impact is equally significant. Every fund receives the same depth of analysis and the same professional tone. There's no quality gap between your flagship products and your smaller vehicles. And because every data point flows through automated validation, the category of errors caused by manual transcription simply disappears. This is an incremental improvement. It's a structural change in how your operations team spends its time during the most pressured period of the month. The hours you recover go directly back into investment management, client engagement, and business development. Let me crystallize the 3 benefits that matter most to the COOs, heads of product, and operations leaders in this audience. First, speed. The reduction from days to minutes per fund is not an exaggeration, it's the mathematical consequence of replacing manual writing and formatting with automated generation and assembly. Your month-end cycle compresses dramatically. Materials reach clients and consultants faster. Your team stops working weekends at month end. Second, compliance. This is often the most compelling benefit for regulated firms today. Compliance review is reactive. Your team reads what a human wrote and catches issues after the fact. In the automated workflow, compliance guardrails are proactive. The language model is configured with your approved terminology, prohibited phrases, and regulatory constraints before it generates a single word. The output is compliant by design, not by correction. And the full audit trail, AI draft, human edits, approval timestamp gives you documentation that regulators increasingly expect. Third, scalability. This is the strategic benefit. Today, every new fund you launch means another Factsheet to produce manually each month. With automation, the marginal cost of adding a fund approaches zero. You can scale your product lineup, absorb acquired fund families, and expand into new geographies without hiring more writers or extending your production timeline. The automation scales linearly while your costs stay flat. Here's the reference architecture on AWS that makes this production ready. Let me walk through the 3 layers. The data layer uses Amazon S3 as the central store for ingested fund data. Factsheet templates, style guides, and compliance rule sets. API connectors pull data from your portfolio management systems, Bloomberg Port, FactSet, Eagle Pace, or flat file drops. For firms that need to parse legacy Factsheets, Amazon Textract extracts structured data from PDF documents with high accuracy on financial tables and figures. The processing layer is where the intelligence lives. AWS Lambda functions orchestrate the entire pipeline, triggering data ingestion, invoking the language model, assembling Factsheets, and routing to review. Amazon Bedrock with Claude handles the commentary generation. Bedrock gives you a fully managed, serverless inference environment with enterprise security. Your fund data never leaves your AWS environment and is not used to train the foundation model. For firms that want to fine-tune the model on their historical commentaries for maximum style fidelity, Amazon SageMaker provides the training infrastructure. The output layer includes the Factsheet rendering engine that populates your branded templates, the review and approval interface for compliance teams, and the distribution pipeline that publishes approved Factsheets to client portals, email distribution lists, and document archives. The entire architecture is serverless and scales automatically, whether you're processing 10 funds or 1,000. Security and data privacy are non-negotiable for asset managers, and this deserves explicit attention. Your fund data, performance figures, holdings, attribution analysis, is proprietary and often material non-public information. It cannot leave your controlled environment, and it absolutely cannot be used to train a third-party model. Amazon Bedrock addresses this directly. When you invoke Claude through Bedrock, your data is processed in your Oz account, encrypted in transit and at rest, and is explicitly excluded from any model training. This is a contractual commitment from AWS, not just a policy statement. Your prompts and outputs are yours alone. The underlying infrastructure carries SOC 2 Type 2, ISO 27001, and financial services-specific compliance certifications. For firms operating under SEC, FCA, MiFID II, or APAC regulatory frameworks, the architecture supports the data residency, access control, and audit requirements you need. Role-based access controls ensure that only authorized compliance officers can approve commentary. For distribution, only authorized data operations staff can modify ingestion pipelines, and only authorized investment professionals can override AI-generated content. Every action is logged with timestamps and user identities. For GIPS compliance specifically, The audit trail documents exactly how every performance figure in every factsheet was sourced, validated, and published. This is the kind of documentation that turns a regulatory examination from a scramble into a straightforward exercise. Let me outline the practical path from today to production. This is a 5-step engagement designed to de-risk the initiative and build confidence at each stage. Step 1 is a discovery workshop. We sit down with your investment operations, product, compliance, and technology teams to map the current workflow end to end. We identify every data source, every manual handoff, every compliance requirement, and every distribution channel. This typically takes 1 to 2 days and gives us the blueprint for the automation design. Step 2 is a rapid prototype. Within 2 to 3 weeks of the workshop, we build a working prototype that generates commentary for 3 to 5 representative funds, ideally spanning different asset classes and styles so you can evaluate the output across your product range. You see real AI-generated commentary based on your real fund data. Step 3 is calibration. Your portfolio managers and compliance team review the prototype output and provide feedback on tone, depth, terminology, and compliance adherence. We fine-tune the model and adjust the prompt engineering to match your exact requirements. Step 4 is a pilot deployment. We run the automated workflow in parallel with your existing manual process for 1 full month-end cycle. You compare outputs side by side and validate that the automated version meets your quality bar. Step 5 is full production rollout across your entire fund family. With ongoing monitoring, feedback loops, and continuous improvement, most firms reach production within 8 to 12 weeks of the initial workshop. Let me bring this together. The opportunity in front of you is straightforward. The technology now exists to automate the most time-consuming, repetitive, and error-prone part of your monthly operations cycle. AI-powered commentary generation and factsheet automation can compress days of manual effort into minutes of automated processing, with human oversight exactly where it belongs, at the approval gate. The commentary quality matches what your portfolio managers produce manually, with the added benefits of consistency across your entire fund family and compliance guardrails. Embedded from the start, the AWS architecture ensures that your proprietary fund data remains secure within your environment, with full audit trails for regulatory documentation. And the scalability story is what makes this strategically important. You can grow your product lineup, absorb acquisitions, and expand globally without your commentary production becoming a bottleneck. The marginal cost of adding the next fund approaches zero. Here's our ask. Schedule a discovery workshop. Bring your fund data, your factsheet templates, your compliance framework, and your hardest to write commentaries. Within weeks, we'll hand you a working prototype that generates institutional quality commentary for a representative sample of your funds. You'll see exactly what this looks like with your data, your style, your compliance requirements. Reach out today to reserve your workshop slot. Let's make next month's cycle the last one your team does the hard way. Thank you.